Welcome back, fellow internet adventurers. Get ready for another wild ride through Reddit's strangest stories. We're diving deep into the internet's quirkiest corners. Grab your popcorn and join us on this adventure. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. Let's get started. As I made my way home from work, the day had stretched long and wearisome, burdened by the absence of my wife, Clara, who had left for a purported business trip early that morning. She had packed her suitcase with the usual precision, a calculated array of business attire and casual wear. Her kiss had lingered, colder than the season's first frost. 3 days in Chicago, right? I had asked, my voice tinged with the suspicion that had crept into our marriage over the past months. Yes, just a few meetings. I'll be back before you know it, Clara had replied, her eyes darting away too quickly, her smile a little too tight. As the evening wore on, the square teemed with people, the laughter and chatter mingling with the sounds of street musicians and the occasional bark of street vendors. I found myself walking without purpose, my mind entangled in the web of doubts and half-truths that had defined our recent conversations. That's when I saw them, the flashing lights of a police cruiser cutting through the mundane chaos of urban life. Drawn by a mixture of curiosity and an indefinable premonition, I approached. There, in the midst of huddled officers, stood a figure so bizarrely out of place that it took me a moment to recognize her. Clara. Her elegant coat was missing, clad instead in nothing but a plaid blanket clutched tightly around her. Her face, a canvas of shock and embarrassment, turned ghostly pale when our eyes met. What's going on here? My voice cut through the murmur of the gathering crowd, more forceful than intended. Sir, please keep back. One of the officers tried to intervene, but Clara's voice broke through. James! I can explain, she stammered, taking a step toward me, the blanket slipping slightly. The officer, a stern-looking woman with a notepad, interjected. We were called to a disturbance nearby. It seems there was a confrontation. Your wife was found in compromising circumstances. Compromising. The word hung heavy in the air, its implication darker than the evening sky. Clara's eyes filled with tears, her usual composure shattered. It's not what you think, James. Save it, I snapped, the pieces slotting together in a pattern too clear to ignore. Who is he? Her silence was answer enough. The ride home was a tableau of misery and silence. Clara attempted to explain, a tale of temptation, mistakes, and a lover's quarrel gone awry. Her lover's wife had caught them, resulting in Clara's disgraceful escape into the street, clad in nothing but betrayal. That night, as Clara sobbed into the depths of our sofa, I sat at the kitchen table, the cold marble under my palms a mirror to the ice forming around my heart. Betrayal, I realized, wasn't just her action, but the undoing of our life together. I would not let this lie rest. A plan began to form, cold and calculated. Revenge would be exacted for the charade of our marriage. Clara's life, as she knew it, would unravel thread by thread. As dawn broke, I watched her sleep on the couch, the plaid blanket a poor shield against the chill of our now hollow home. I would start with the divorce papers, swift, unyielding. Then I would dismantle the life she had so carelessly pieced together behind my back. This would be the end of our story together, but the beginning of my retribution. Morning light filtered through the blinds, casting narrow strips of sunlight across the room. Clara remained on the couch, wrapped in the same plaid blanket from the night before. The sight of her, the woman who had shattered our life, stirred a cold determination within me. I needed to act swiftly, decisively. I had no intention of allowing this betrayal to go unanswered. I moved to the kitchen, making a pot of coffee to fuel the day's plans. As the aroma filled the room, I steeled myself for what was to come. My hands were steady as I drafted the divorce papers, each word meticulously chosen to ensure clarity and finality. The legal jargon was a cold comfort, but it would serve its purpose. Clara stirred, her eyes slowly opening to the reality of her situation. She sat up, her face etched with the remnants of last night's despair. James, she started, her voice hoarse, please let's talk about this. I'm sorry. I made a terrible mistake. I don't look up from the papers, my voice cold. A mistake? Clara, this wasn't a simple error in judgment. You betrayed me publicly and disgracefully. She stands and wraps the blanket tighter around herself, the move both pitiable and infuriating. I know I messed up, but it doesn't have to end like this. We can work through this, right? We can get past it. I finally look up, meeting her gaze with steely resolve. No, Clara, there's nothing to work through. You've shown me who you really are. The trust is gone. The marriage is over. Her face flushes with a mix of anger and desperation. You can't be serious. You're just acting out of spite. Spite? I echo, my voice rising. You're the one who chose to betray me. Don't project your guilt onto me. She falls silent, her shoulders sagging. I turn back to the papers, finishing the final touches. The weight of my decision sits heavily on my shoulders, but the path is clear. I'm going to file these today, I say, placing the completed documents on the table. You have a choice. Leave now, or I will have you escorted out. Clara's eyes fill with tears, but there's a fierce edge to her voice. You can't do this to me. You don't know what you're asking. I'm not asking, I reply firmly. I'm telling you. With a resigned nod, Clara stands and begins to gather her belongings, her movements slow and deliberate. I watch her, my mind racing with the next steps. The divorce is just the beginning. I plan to ensure that Clara's life, as she knew it, is irrevocably altered. As she exits the apartment with a suitcase in tow, I pick up the phone and dial a number I had been dreading to use. Hello, Peter, I say when the call is answered. It's James. I need your help with something. Peter's voice is steady, his curiosity piqued. What's going on? It's about Clara. I begin detailing the betrayal and the subsequent fallout. I need to ensure that her name and reputation take a hit, something that will make her think twice before ever considering such deceit again. There's a pause on the other end before Peter responds. Consider it done. I'll handle it discreetly. Thanks, I say, ending the call. The day stretches before me, filled with tasks and arrangements. I need to ensure the divorce is processed swiftly, and I begin by visiting my lawyer to file the papers. I walk through the crowded city streets, the noise and bustle a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. By late afternoon, I return home to find the apartment empty. Clara's things are gone. Her clothes, her trinkets, her memories. The silence is deafening, a stark reminder of the life that was and the life that will be. I sit down at the kitchen table, the empty space across from me a painful reminder of what's been lost. The revenge I sought has begun, but the path ahead is long and fraught with challenges. I know this is just the beginning, and the true test of my resolve is yet to come. As the evening shadows stretch across the room, I reflect on the days ahead. The divorce is but a part of a larger plan, one that will test my will and ensure that Clara understands the full weight of her betrayal. The first light of dawn breaks through the blinds, casting a somber glow over the empty apartment. Clara's absence hangs heavy in the air. I've spent the night poring over every detail of the plan, my resolve hardening with each passing hour. The initial shock of her betrayal has crystallized into cold determination. It's time to set the next phase of my plan into motion. I start the day by heading to the courthouse to ensure the divorce papers are filed and processed. The building is a hive of activity, the glamour of legal disputes and bureaucratic procedures blending into a background hum. As I approach the clerk's desk, I can't help but feel a sense of finality with each step. Good morning, I say, placing the documents on the counter. I'd like to file for divorce. The clerk, a middle-aged woman with tired eyes, takes the papers and begins her review. These look in order. It will take a few days for everything to be processed. You'll receive a notice with the court date. I nod, feeling a mixture of relief and anticipation. The wheels are now set in motion, and the sense of power is intoxicating. Back at the apartment, I'm interrupted by a knock on the door. Opening it, I'm met by Peter, my longtime friend and confidant. His presence is both reassuring and unsettling. James, Peter says, stepping inside. I've come through with the promise I made. I've arranged a few things. We need to talk about how we're going to handle this. I lead him to the living room, where we sit across from each other. What have you managed to do? Peter pulls out a folder from his briefcase. I've contacted a few people in the media. Clara's little escapade has already generated some buzz, and we're poised to push it further. It's crucial to maintain discretion while making sure the message gets out. I take the folder, flipping through the preliminary press releases and background information. This is solid work, but I want to make sure it's not just gossip. I need her to feel the weight of her actions. Peter's expression is grim but determined. We'll be strategic. The key is to ensure the information is accurate but damaging. We want to hit her where it hurts most. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes with a text message. It's from Clara. The message is short and pleading. "James, I know you're hurting, but please let's talk. I want to make amends." I stare at the screen, my anger flaring anew. She's trying to reach out. I need to be firm. No more chances. Peter nods in agreement. Ignore her. She had her chance, and she blew it. Focus on the plan. Later that afternoon, I receive a call from my lawyer. "James, we've received the response from Clara's lawyer. She's contesting the divorce, claiming it's unjust." I lean back in my chair, a cold smile playing at the corners of my mouth. Let her contest. The damage is already done, and I have no intention of backing down. After the call, I turn my attention to the media plan. Peter and I work through the details, refining the strategy to ensure Clara's scandal reaches the right outlets. The plan is meticulous. Leverage social media, release controlled information to trusted journalists, and ensure that the narrative is both compelling and devastating. As evening falls, I prepare for the next step. I visit Clara's favorite cafe, a place she often frequented before everything fell apart. I'm here not for nostalgia, but to gather more information. The staff know me and greet me with familiarity. "James," the barista says with a warm smile. "Haven't seen you in a while. How's Clara?" I force a smile, my mind already racing. "We're not together anymore. I'm here to find out if she's been here recently." The barista's smile falters slightly. "I'm sorry to hear that. She was here a couple of days ago. She seemed upset, but she didn't say much." "Did she mention where she was going?" I ask, trying to keep my tone casual. The barista shakes her head. "No, she just mentioned needing to clear her head, but she seemed anxious." I nod, taking the information in stride. It's clear Clara is struggling, but that only fuels my determination. The pieces are falling into place, and I'm more committed than ever to seeing this through. Returning home, I find myself alone with my thoughts. The next few days will be critical. The media plan will go live soon, and I need to ensure that every detail is executed flawlessly. Clara's reputation will be tarnished, and her public humiliation will be a constant reminder of her betrayal. As I sit in the dim light of the apartment, the silence is both a comfort and a torment. The revenge I've sought is unfolding, but I know the true test is still ahead. The stakes are high, and I'm prepared for whatever comes next. The path of retribution is long and fraught with obstacles, but I'm ready to navigate it, no matter the cost. The weeks have passed in a whirlwind of legal battles, media frenzy, and strategic manipulation. The fallout from Clara's betrayal has been immense. The media coverage has been relentless, her name dragged through every scandalous headline and public gossip column. I've taken grim satisfaction in every whispered rumor and scathing article, watching as her carefully constructed life crumbles around her tonight. However, things are different now. I've received a call from Peter, who's been invaluable in orchestrating the public backlash. He summoned me to a secluded location, a nondescript warehouse on the edge of town. The place is ominous, its shadows hinting at secrets and schemes. As I arrive, Peter is waiting for me, his face grave. "James, we need to talk. There's been a complication." "Complication?" I echo, my voice hard. "What kind of complication?" Peter opens the door, leading me into the dimly lit interior of the warehouse. "It's about Clara. There's something you need to know, something we both missed." A flicker of unease runs through me. "What do you mean?" Peter moves to a table where a stack of documents and photographs are spread out. I've been digging deeper. It turns out Clara wasn't just playing us. There's more to this. He pulls out a file and opens it, revealing emails and bank statements. My eyes widen as I scan through the documents. Clara had been in contact with a private investigator and had been planning her own set of manipulations. "Clara's been setting you up," Peter says, his voice low. She knew about your suspicions and decided to turn the tables. She's been gathering evidence to make you look like the villain. The realization hits me like a punch. The betrayal wasn't just hers. It was a calculated game. I can barely contain my fury. So it's all been a setup? Peter nods. Yes, and there's more. Clara's been working with her lover, and they've planned to use this scandal to blackmail you into giving up everything. Rage boils over. So she's been plotting revenge all along, and I've been playing right into her hands. Peter's expression is a mixture of sympathy and urgency. We need to act fast. If we don't, Clara will come out on top and you'll lose everything. I'm already formulating a plan, my mind racing with cold, ruthless determination. We're going to turn this around. I'm going to make sure Clara pays for every lie and deceit. Peter and I work through the night, devising a strategy to expose Clara's deceitful schemes. The warehouse becomes our command center, filled with the sounds of urgent typing and phone calls. By dawn, we've gathered enough evidence to turn the tide. The plan is set. We will leak the documents to the media and present Clara's true intentions. The fallout is immediate and explosive. By mid-morning, Clara's carefully crafted facade begins to unravel publicly. News outlets report on her betrayal, not just as a scandal, but as a calculated attempt to destroy me. The backlash is swift and severe. Clara's reputation is dismantled piece by piece, her every move scrutinized and vilified. The final blow comes when Clara's lover, caught in the crossfire, is publicly exposed as complicit in the scheme. His career and reputation are obliterated, leaving him as much a casualty as Clara. That evening, I receive a call from Clara. Her voice is broken, her tone laced with desperation. James, please. I know it's over. I should have never tried to deceive you, but you've destroyed everything I had. Clara, I respond coldly. This was your doing. You set this in motion, and now you're reaping what you've sown. You don't understand, she pleads. I was trying to get back at you for something I thought you did. I cut her off, my voice unwavering. It's too late for explanations. You've lost everything, and you'll never get it back. The line goes silent. I hang up, feeling a grim satisfaction as I watch the final threads of Clara's world unravel. The next morning, the apartment is eerily quiet. The reality of the situation settles in. Clara is gone. Her things cleared out, her presence erased. The life we once had is now nothing more than a series of painful memories. I sit alone, the silence a stark reminder of the betrayal and retribution that have defined these recent weeks. The revenge has been served, but the cost has been high. The aftermath of deceit has left scars that cannot be healed. As I look around the empty apartment, I realize that the only way to move forward is to embrace the solitude and forge a new path. Anyways, goodbye for now. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell.